I'm Desi.
And I'm Jen.
And together we are Whiny Women. Whiny Women is a place where girlfriends are encouraged to discuss hot topics and feel included no matter what their opinion is. And of course, it's always better with just a little wine.
Cheers. A sip.
Okay, so today, just for fun, I decided to do like a quick Google search for like Best Buy wines from Target. And nice. I came across California Roots Pinot Grigio as a highly rated wine at Target. So first, you should know it's $5.
Yes.
So that's exciting.
The gallon is like
$9.
Yeah.
So that's also exciting.
I enjoy it.
So California Roots Pinot is a ripe pear and peach aromas and bright citrus and tropical fruit flavors capture the fresh, easygoing feeling of summer any time of the year.
Yes, it's good. I like it.
Tonight was my wine night, my choice. So I brought a white, of course, because that's my favorite thing to drink. And I know it's fall, but I will never not drink Pinot Grigio.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Especially in Vegas. Yeah. It's actually too warm for the sweater, but I wore it anyway because I'm like ready for fall.
This is very cute.
Something else fun is that this wine had an 86% rating from Wine Enthusiast magazine. So not bad for $5.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jen, what are we talking about tonight?
So there was some new information regarding infidelity and the church.
Yes.
We had planned on talking about this a couple weeks ago.
We did plan on talking about this a few weeks ago.
Talking about it today, and there was just some, news regarding
Pastor Carl. Last 24 hours.
Yeah, Pastor Carl Lentz coming out that he was unfaithful in his marriage, and what we had planned on talking about before was, John Gray's admissions to being unfaithful.
Right.
And so that's kind of what we're going to touch on today is infidelity in the church.
Why do you think this is such a fascinating topic for Christians and even for non-Christians as well?
I think because we have elevated some pastors up to just a very high status, Christians and non-Christians.
Yeah.
And it's almost like that train wreck you can't look away from type of situation where people don't think that pastors are
capable of falling.
And then here we are. Yeah. These situations happen, and it's kind of like you can't look away.
Yeah.
So how about you?
Yeah. Well, I think what's interesting about the events that have evolved over the last 24 hours is, I think you know this, but I got saved actually at Hillsong, New York City. So Pastor Carl and Laura Lentz were my pastors. So I think that, first of all, I grew up in church, so this is not the first time that I've seen this. So I think that it always is a good reminder for any Christian to remember that, our faith needs to be in God and not into people, and that, pastors are people too. And I think I've also been saying a lot lately about pray for your pastors. And I think this is perfect examples of, I know that there's other reasons, just other things that are going on in the world, but we do need to be praying for our pastors. Absolutely. Yeah. So when it comes to this topic, how does the world see this versus how do Christians view it?
So a short, anecdotal story.
Yeah.
I used to be a daycare director back in Indiana. And when I was there, I thought it was so interesting that when something would happen, and most of the kids who came there and their parents were not church goers or believed in God. Yeah. But when something would happen, it was always like, well, you're supposed to be a Christian and you're supposed to be nice, because I wouldn't let something slide or, something happened. And, it was always like, well, you are supposed to be like this. And why aren't you doing that? And, I'm just not that type of person.
Yeah.
And so it was always fascinating to me, though, how they just went there to trying to tarnish my character because of my identity as a Christian.
Yeah.
Whereas it was to standards that they didn't even believe in.
Right.
So I always thought that was so interesting. So I think that the world views Christians sometimes in this unrealistic scope of, if you don't do what I'm expecting of you, like being extra kind, extra graceful, extra Jesus-y, whatever it is, that all of a sudden it's they're not the real deal. This is why I don't follow any of that. This is why I'm not religious. And they kind of use it as an excuse. And as far as Christians go, Christians tend to bend on the whole grace and mercy aspects regarding both of these situations.
Yeah.
But you do have some of those Christians who are way harsh and you're going to hell. And, I was trolling their, news feeds, of course.
Yeah.
And a lot of people bend towards grace and mercy. But you do have some of those Christians that were like, you're going straight to hell. And, it's always interesting to see.
It's such a funny thing. And I don't know why it matters to me. It doesn't actually matter. I just find it amusing is that the situations where I feel like they try to edit or censor. So, in the two situations that we brought up, one with, John Gray and one with Carl Lentz, in this case of John Gray, I noticed that speaking of trolling the comments on Instagram, I noticed that a lot of the comments were censored. If they were negative, they were removed. If they were positive, they were left. The comments were off for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, again, it doesn't actually, impact my real life. I don't lose sleep over it, but I do think about how it does irritate me when there is censorship. It's if you make a mistake and you are owning up to it, you can't just be all, it's okay. And the positive comments, you have to also accept the bad too.
For sure. For sure. If you are up to that stature of mega church pastor, people are going to have crazy opinions whether you're doing well.
Yeah.
And especially when you're not doing well.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's the same as we look at, even celebrities or, it's if you're putting your life out there publicly and you're on a platform, then you also have to take what comes with that platform. And that is, sometimes the criticism and, hopefully a lot of the grace and mercy too. But yeah, it's just interesting.
Right.
So what do you think even leads to cheating?
I think that's part of the fascination with how does this happen? Yeah. Because I believe that a lot of people in the world, in the church world, have dealt with this issue. So it's not anything new. Yeah. And I believe that people know to their deepest core that cheating isn't something that, happens one morning when you wake up. You don't just wake up and say,
I'm going to have an affair today.
I'm totally happy, but I'm going to go cheat on my husband today. Yeah. It's a slow roll of just series of bad decisions. On top of that, just your heart might be a little messed up. Yeah. Or you and your husband or wife might not be in a good place. So you allow doors to open that wouldn't be normally open. Yeah. You allow relationships that wouldn't normally bloom in certain circumstances to happen. Yeah. And so I think that leads to a future situation, bad situation.
Yeah. Well, I think we always want to leave our viewers with a tip or a takeaway. So I think that what you said just perfectly segue into what our takeaway is. But what tips do you have to cheat-proof your marriage?
So I wouldn't say that these are 100% nothing is ever going to happen because humans are humans. But I know that for me and my husband, we have had issues with infidelity in our past. And so we know kind of the repercussions and the healing and what it takes to get over that. And so I do not envy right now what, Laura Lentz is going through. My heart breaks for her. Yeah. And I just hope that they are able to be removed from the spotlight long enough to actually get healing. And that,
absolutely.
But some things that me and my husband have put in place, I would say that, sex rules. Oh. We talk about it. I think that with acknowledging that sex matters in your relationship, that's important. But you also have to talk about there's male and female differences. When you're younger, we have been in a relationship for 13 years. So when you're younger, sex is easy and it happens all the time. And then as you grow and things happen, you get married and there's financial stuff and, usually the first thing to suffer throughout all of these trials and tribulations in marriage is sex.
Your sex life. Yeah.
And so this is something that you have to protect. And you also have to talk about it.
Yeah.
And that's something I think that's missing in a lot of marriages is, just the husband being free to say, you know what, I need sex from you more. Mm-hmm. Or the wife being able to say, you know what, I need this from you more. Mm-hmm. And, being just open and understanding instead of being like, well, you always, just kind of taking it chill.
Yeah.
And just being like, okay, just figure out where you're coming from and trying to make this work despite the fact that, we're busy.
Yeah.
And we have life stuff going on.
That's good.
So, it's always great to talk about sex. And so my number 2 is the Mike Pence rule. So, and you said you didn't know about this, but so
no,
a couple years ago, Mike Pence had been raked over the coals because he had said that he would never be alone with a woman without his wife present. Yeah. And so the media was making fun of him and just people were making fun of him. And that's a very legit rule. And it's very heard of in the Christian world. A lot of men have acknowledged in the Christian world that this is something that is important. If you respond to every female who's trying to text you or call you or have a coffee date with you, you're opening up doors that are potentially just will destroy your marriage. Yeah. Because the bottom line is that me and my husband, we trust each other. Right. But I don't know, the purity of somebody else's heart that's trying to meet with him. Right. And this has happened recently. Somebody messaged him wanting to meet up for a drink and her heart might have been 100% pure. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I can't see into her heart. Yeah. But I wasn't happy about it. Yeah. And, my husband told me about it, which was awesome. Yeah. But still in my head, because I knew this person. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, to me, this is crazy. How do you not know that this is a thing that you just don't ask somebody's man out for a drink? Yeah. But with the younger generation, it's very, very common for them to have friends of the opposite sex and for them to meet and hang out and drink around, opposite sex that are friends. Yeah. And so they don't know why we don't open those doors in a marriage. And so sometimes you just got to break it down for somebody younger who might not understand or who's looking for a marriage and, they might need that advice in the future. So Mike Pence rule. Always set boundaries in your marriage. And I think number 3 would be just our faith. It's always important to acknowledge what is the most important thing, which is, first of all, it's our relationship with God. And then secondly, it's our relationship with each other. Yeah. So no matter what platform we have, none of that matters if we are not okay. Right. And so, I think that would be my 3 steps. That's good stuff. To help.
Well, thank you for leaving us with that good advice.
Yes.
Hopefully we can, cheat-proof our marriages.
Yes.